Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We were doing so well. We were doing extremely well when it came to what I like to call the never-ending story kind of news. For those of you who don't know, there's always a theme or a trend that kind of takes over everything within the cryptocurrency space. And I mean, it becomes the main overshadowing news. For a while, it was ETFs. Got it. For a while, it was, like Bitcoin before the halving. Where's the price going? We had to cross many a mountain, to get over the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX news, which is trying to come back into the news. And I'm like, please, for the love of goodness, stop. But one of them is the king of, you think it's gone and people continue to talk about it. It's not anything crazy or dramatic, but now it's gotten to the point where people are kind of obsessing over it. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is convinced that spot Ethereum ETFs could still launch within the United States, even if Ether ends up being designated as a security. We're going to back it up and then move forward. For those of you who've missed it somehow, almost said Michael Sanders. Who's Michael Sanders? What's the guy's name from the SEC? Topadop. The guy with the... That's Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is his name. Has a very hard time just being a normal regulator. And he's consistently made sure to regulate by enforcement rather than doing his job title and actually regulating. Quite recently, a list of altcoins came out that could potentially be securities, and everyone completely lost their minds, and I'm going to explain that also as well. The other part was we recently heard that after the spot Bitcoin ETFs were actually releasing, Gary Gensler went on to TV and basically ranted and said Bitcoin's evil, Bitcoin's horrible, Bitcoin so-and-so. And it looks like he has a new fascination for Ethereum, where it appears that over the course of the news of the last few weeks that Gary Gensler might, allegedly, no one knows except for him, that he might be trying to put a security tag onto Ethereum. Now I'm going to drag it even further back just for some extra context. Back in the olden days, 1,000 years ago, back in 2017, 2018, the idea of something being an unregistered security was not a conversation that we were having within the cryptocurrency space, because none of these coins are actually unregistered securities. None of them. What would be an unregistered security is a product put on top of a blockchain that guarantees you some type of money from having it, i.e., the people from Litecoin or Ripple or from the Ethereum Foundation create a fund on top of a blockchain that says as long as you hold 4 Ether and you hold this fund and you wiggle your toe on a Sunday, we will give you this money because that's what the blockchain does and what this bond is stating. That would be a product that was created by a company or an entity that you acquired with an expectation of profit. That's a security. This was the conversation we had a number of years ago, and I know my words mean absolutely nothing to the community because everyone continued to run around as if they were absolutely insane when we got the news that XRP might be a security. This basically came from the idea that the SEC are a bunch of monsters and they have nothing better to do with their time than to try and gain control over things that they don't have control over. The thing that stood out to me when I said no one listened to a word I said, and I'm sure some of you heard me, but alas, is that even if XRP had actually been deemed to be a security, it wouldn't have changed anything. The idea of being a security is something that Bitcoin maximalists have been using for about 7-8 years now to put fear into the hearts of other people who are buying altcoins. You don't want your coin to be a security, and they can't even tell you what a security is or what the security classification would mean. A security classification by the SEC would basically mean that your coin, in essence, and what's done by the foundation or the company, just falls under the SEC's jurisdiction. They would basically be able to peer a little bit more into the on-chain activities and say what can and can't be done. But one, this is literally not possible. It is not a thing. You can, of course, go after the company and see their internal data for what the company's using. But as far as the information on chain and why XRP got the non-security status is because, for those of you who forgot very quickly, what the SEC was trying to do was literally gain control of all transactions that were happening within the XRP blockchain within the United States of America. That's literally not how it works. So in essence, if someone in Tokyo has sent you XRP and you live in Alabama, well, you would have had to have registered that with the SEC. It's literally not feasible what they were even talking about. Nonetheless, that holding XRP is not a contract between you and Ripple. You did not sign anything that said, hey, I'm holding this because I have a contract with Ripple that says on this date, they're going to give me a guaranteed return on me holding XRP. The same exact thing holds true for Ethereum. The issue is that the SEC is desperate, and it's really sad at this point that they're trying to get control of, once again, as many things as possible that they cannot control. A security classification for Ethereum within the United States of America, because for those of you who have not been paying attention, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and every other coin around the world and every other country, they're classified as literally commodities or currencies, not legal tender. Some of them have a classification where you can use this as money. There are other countries that literally classify them as a digital currency. Think about it. So, all that would mean within the United States is that the SEC would try and gain control over the transactional transactions for Ethereum within the US. It wouldn't work out. It can't be a thing. They would try to gain control over DAOs and other autonomous organizations on Ethereum and or decentralized exchanges. They can't do it. It's literally not feasible. And as a security, if Ethereum and Ether are securities, you know what else is a security? A stock. Ethereum, Ether would essentially be able to also be traded on stock exchanges. I heard you. I could hear it. Someone went, oh, yeah. The security classification isn't something terrible. The problem is the way that the SEC is going about it. If they had said years ago that all these coins were securities when they were actually trying to regulate, we would have been over that hump already. We would have well over that mountain. But the problem is that they're doing it in a very scary way instead of trying to, because for those of you who don't know, the other coins and Bitcoin and other coins as well are considered commodities within the US as well. Like under actual regulations from the CFTC, they consider them commodities. The issue is that the CFTC is not full of monsters. They're not full of people who are always in the news talking about how evil, horrible, and terrible cryptocurrencies are. So you're seeing regulation, but a light form of regulation from the CFTC. That's why a number of years ago, we kept on having conversations that people, even from within the SEC and other politicians within the US, they want the CFTC to be the governing body over crypto because they don't rule it with an iron-bladed fist like Gary Gensler has been doing. So anyway, the idea, once again, for those of you who missed it, of a security classification is not a nail in a digital coffin. It is literally just an oversight by a regulator. As many things in this planet are regulated, that's all it basically would come down to. So in the event that Ethereum would be deemed a security, the problem is that people panic too quickly and the price would fall. And then you would hear that all these companies are buying it back up and the price is rising. Like, why? It's a security. Security means nothing. These companies hold and issue securities themselves. The stock that they issue are securities. It actually makes it a little bit easier for them to get into it. That's why the idea of Bitcoin ETFs was so popular, because it's a securitized, regulated version of Bitcoin that is going through a stock brokerage platform. See, it's not that scary anymore when people stop trying to scare the living bejesus out of everybody. So Larry Fink was recently, he's been on TV a lot the last couple of weeks, talking about all of this stuff. And he basically was like, yeah, no, we're probably still going to have an Ethereum ETF, even if it is considered a security, because it would just be a security that has another security base on top of it, essentially. The regulators would not mind if they're regulating the asset and then also regulating the ETF on top of it. But people get so scared, and this is why I always say research, read stuff, do things, watch documentaries so you learn what these things actually are. The SEC is incredibly corrupt, but what they're doing is no different than what would have been done already if we didn't have these monsters charging the SEC. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink isn't concerned about the US SEC labeling Ethereum as a security. During an appearance on Fox Business, Fink confirmed that BlackRock, which has seen astounding success with its spot Bitcoin, I saw the interview. They were mainly asking him about the Bitcoin ETF. They would not stop. You could tell he was like, please guys, like anything else, and they were like, so Bitcoin. He was like, okay. The confirmed that BlackRock could still introduce an Ether-based ETF, even if the underlying asset Ether is deemed a security. As ZY Crypto reported earlier this month, the SEC is putting serious efforts into trying to categorize Ether as a security token and has sent investigative subpoenas to multiple companies in recent weeks. This caused concerns over whether the SEC's action would derail plans to... How do people not know how the world works? How are there so many people in... You know, crypto's finance, right? You know that this is a financial circle that we're in. And we also have to deal with regulators. It's just a thing that is happening. You know that all these foundations and all these companies have already had to register with the SEC before, right? Before the coins even came out. That's what I was telling you before, to read that book. I think it's by Laura Shin. Where she was literally talking about the early days of Ethereum. And one of the people on the project, Joseph Lubin, had worked in corporate finance before. He was like, we got to get all this stuff registered before we even launch the coin. We have to register as a company. We have to register. They had to all go through the SEC. So they went to Switzerland to do the majority of their stuff. But the moment that any of this business would have touched American soil, they had to... I don't get it. No. I'm going to back it up. I understand if you're brand new to the space that you might not understand a lot of these terms, a lot of these things, and may not really get where I'm coming from. Buddy boy, if you've been here for 3 or 4 years and you don't know the role of the SEC or the CFTC and why an Ethereum ETF is even more possible with a security classification, you got to start reading. I see that a lot of other crypto YouTubers have begun their reemergence. And the majority, if not all of the content that they're making is just hype train. Money buy. This new, this buy. This new, buy it. It's shiny, it's new. Dog with cat. You got to buy it. You're going to make so there's a lack of education coming from crypto YouTubers because they don't really want you to understand that you're buying scams half the time with all these new Solana-based meme coins. And this is how they also make their money, because they're already invested in these coins before they tell you about it. So when they tell you about it, that's that you get how the game works. There have been so many people talking about security classifications for years. It's not really that terrible of a thing to have a security classification. It just means more oversight. But once again, these are global currencies. And it would just be a portion of the transactions that the SEC was able to get control of within the United States. Everywhere else would be just completely fine. And even more so, it took Larry Fink to go on TV and be like, no, we would still get it. No, it's still completely fine. You think these people aren't having conversations with the SEC? That's what boggled my mind a while ago, that these, like, during the whole like Bitcoin ETF thing. You think the people from BlackRock, when they walk, money falls out of their pockets. They're worth trillions of dollars. You think these people haven't had, like, no, on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, they tell the SEC when they're going to have a meeting. More than likely, they're going to get their Ethereum ETF. There's nothing really holding them back from it other than Gary Gensler, trying to do everything that he's been doing over the last couple of months, but oh boy. However, BlackRock CEO's conviction is a remarkable note of bullishness. This is what the article says. He says, and I quote, "I don't think that a security designation is going to be that deleterious." Okay. Roughly 7 potential providers, including BlackRock, have filed paperwork for the SEC to launch spot Ethereum ETFs on U.S. exchanges. As it stands right now, we have about, I think it's like, was it 6 or 7 weeks? I think it's meant to be the 18th of May is when we're going to actually find out if we get one of these things. If we don't, people are going to panic. Ethereum is going to fall down. Ethereum's price will then rise back up. And then we will still end up hitting probably $10,000 this year. But I personally don't care about ETFs because I know that the market will be just fine by itself. However, from the standpoint of like money making, Ethereum would probably hit $20,000 a coin if we had the ETF sometime in 2025, just realistically. And the other issue is that all other coins are tied to Ethereum. So if Ethereum starts pumping, the altcoins are going to have a field day as well. Yes, very popular news. I mean, from both ends. A lot of the news was that Larry Fink was talking. I mean, like, what in the world is going through people's heads? That Larry Fink was talking positively about Bitcoin. Did you expect this man to go on TV and go, I mean, I guess. I mean, I can't really spell it, but I mean, no, of course he's going to talk positively about the thing that there's billions of dollars flowing into his pockets every day. And then also the entire security classification. If nothing else, I hope that my words have gotten to like 16 of you. Like 16 people listening to this right now are like, cool, I got it for the future, so that you can also spread the news. Because this keeps happening over and over. Like, a security classification means literally nothing except for like regulation. The problem in the cryptocurrency space are the scam coins and these other blockchain databases that keep on collapsing. Those are the actual problems. People trying to trick you out of your money and telling you that Solana is a good investment. I can't make it any more crystal clearer. Those are the problems that we currently have. That's the BlackRock. Wow, I can't believe it. We still might get an ETF. I mean, I wasn't expecting anyone. How? Even if a security, wow. All right. Okay. Let's move on. So remember I told you I felt like something was up. Something's happening behind the scenes that we are not really in the room for. Rumors have begun to pop up regarding a potential Litecoin ETF. Yes. Someone named Eleanor Terrett said, "Scoop. Hearing rumblings on the institutional level about a possible interest in a Litecoin ETF. The logic is that because of Litecoin functioning similarly to Bitcoin, the SEC may be more inclined to approve it, possibly even more so than ETH. For those of you who do not know, Litecoin is a technical fork of Bitcoin. This is what we've gone over before. The actual Value in Litecoin lies not only in the fact that it's a legacy chain that has been around for a while, it also has halvings, which reduced the supply as well. We just had one. But also the idea that back in 2017, 2018, the creator of Litecoin stepped away from the project. You might remember, he mentioned many times, he said, every time I go on Twitter, if I had a bad day and he tweeted about it, the price would go down. If he had a very good day and he's like, guys, life is amazing, the price would go up. He said, I can't have that for this project. And people were angry. Like, you don't understand the word angry until you see like how it was back then, because people thought he was abandoning the project. He said, no, I'm doing this because I can't have any influence on it. He said the idea of Litecoin is meant to be like an essence, a smaller version of Bitcoin. He said, if Bitcoin doesn't have Satoshi and the project is working just fine, he said, I also have to step back as well to let the project breathe. So Litecoin has moved on its own for multiple cycles without this man. Litecoin has never been ever in the discussion of a security because it is similar in many different ways, if not all ways, to Bitcoin. So you might remember, this was 2 weeks ago. I was telling you, I said something really weird was happening with Litecoin because we hadn't had any Litecoin news for about a good 2 years. And then we had news that there was a remittance app, an app that sends money around the world and moves it through crypto. The Litecoin was their number one choice for movements. And I was like, it was 41% of their app, followed by Ether, and then followed by Bitcoin at like 5% or something like that. And then the other coins like Cardano and Tron and yada yada, they all had around like 1% of the movements on the app. And then we had what was the other Litecoin news? I can't remember it. And then we had something about like investor interest in Litecoin. And then Litecoin went up by like, I think 10 or 15% in one day randomly. And there's been a lot of Litecoin news. And I even told you, for those of you who missed it, this is me personally. This is not investment advice. I would actually even advise against it because we know who the true winner of the space is. It's Bitcoin. I'm going to start buying some Litecoin and I don't know why. Maybe it's because like I've seen the growth of Litecoin. I've seen how long that it's actually been around. But something about it is really sticking out to me right now. And I think we've had rumors before that apparently other ETFs might become a thing. We don't know for which coins. It's never been revealed, but we've heard a lot of whispers from people who've given us accurate news before. So now we're getting this one about there being like potential Litecoin ETFs. There's also in this article as well, for those of you who missed it, Coinbase also now has futures for Dogecoin, Litecoin, and Bcash as well, which also kind of stood out to me as well, because these three coins would probably also have no instance where they would receive a security classification, because they all, except for slightly Dogecoin, don't really have a head of the dragon. Bcash isn't effectively really run by, I almost said Josh Groban, Roger Ver anymore. Litecoin doesn't have Charlie Lee at the helm. And Dogecoin, for all intents and purposes, is a meme coin that has a foundation that people are working on its code. But the closest we got was Elon Musk, who was also told, you might have forgotten, to step back from the project because he would have given it a security classification. Anytime this man said something, the coin's price went up. You can't have that for a project. Like, it is the complete opposite of what you want for something that is meant to be decentralized and for the actual community. So now there's these futures that are launching for these three legacy coins, and something's going on. Something's happening behind the scenes. I do not know exactly what. I cannot give you an exact approximation of what's currently happening, but I find all of it to be very, very fascinating. Yeah. So now the rumors have begun for spot Litecoin ETFs. I would say realistically, if it were to happen, or rather we would begin to get news for it around summertime. We probably need to, obviously, to get the Ether ones for the dust to settle. And then we'll start seeing how much money these companies are making. And if they can figure out another coin to make money from, then they'll go for it. But I've had a feeling for a while, something about Litecoin. We were talking about that before. Its previous all-time high was like almost 400. And I was telling all of you, I was like, relative to its price right now, if we get a $300,000 Bitcoin, we're probably going to see a $1,000 or $2,000 Litecoin. And I was like, something about it is sticking out to me, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. Maybe it's some kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've seen it for so long. Anyway, that's the potential Litecoin ETFs. And also the Coinbase futures for Dogecoin, Litecoin, and Bcash. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in news, I guess. Where are the words? Jeez Louise. The government of Estonia has greenlit a bill aimed at regulating cryptocurrency service providers, a move reported by state-run media outlets. This is like the fifth country that we're hearing about in the last month or so, who's basically regulating crypto. We've heard a lot of rumors from a lot of countries that they would have cryptocurrency regulations, and now they're all kind of beginning to roll out. I'm sure there's been a lot of pressure from these companies on these governments to like kind of get things rolling. Everyone wants to have it before the having. You take too long and we can't make money like we would normally be making money. However, the bill must still pass through a parliamentary vote before it becomes law. According to the legislation, cryptocurrency service providers would fall under the supervision of the Financial Supervisory Authority, or the FSA. Presently, these providers are registered and monitored by the Financial Intelligence Unit, adhering to anti-money laundering laws within Estonia. The FSA is set to commence issuing licenses in 2025. I know these companies are so... Why does it take so long? It doesn't, like... I've been in situations before where I sit there and I'm like, it doesn't take a lot to just hire 15 new people. If you've had an influx of applications for something, hire new people. I'm sure the jobless rate in Estonia is not 0%. And I say that accurately because it's not 0% anywhere in the world, except for maybe Monaco, but that's also something. Anyway, the point is, yeah. So, cool. It's another country who has come out into the news to say that they're going to be regulating crypto and giving pieces of paper to companies who want to work within their borders. I feel like they should have done this years ago. As someone who does daily cryptocurrency news, we do not hear a lot of buzz about companies actively looking towards Estonia to do business. So I feel like if they had done this 4 or 5 years ago, they would have all the monies. But, you know, I guess better late than later. That's the Estonia is going to be regulating crypto within their country. But like, do it now, because, you know, there's a lot of money to be made, and all the money that you could make, but then also you could like get taxes from it, and then the government could make more. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. A lot of very weird crypto news the last like 2 weeks or so. I don't know what the shift is, but everyone's focusing on Ethereum ETFs and the US debt crisis mountain and stuff like that that's been going on. I do hope you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Please read. For the sake of humanity, learn more. Like, do what you need to or can do every single day to make sure that you are growing as a person and learning more about these markets that you're throwing your money into. It doesn't make any sense for anyone. I don't care what market you're in. You don't buy a home because you want to buy a home. You look at it and you're like, hey, these walls aren't going to fall apart. Are these floorboards going to break? You turn on the switches and you see that, you know, electricity works. Okay, water is flowing. You look around, you learn before you buy the home what you need to learn. Don't just throw your money into this space, into crypto, without learning about it. I know that, you know, big money to be made, but you also want to know where you're putting your money, because reading is fundamental. And yeah, thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.